Hello, this is Ken Ferrie with this week's Boots in the Field report. We continue to fight the rain delays in this 23 harvest. More and more operations, though, are getting across the finish line, especially guys to the south. The cool, wet conditions are slowing the fall tillage as well. Now, those cool temperatures are pulling down soil temps, and we'll be seeing some soil temperatures stay below 50 here pretty quick, I think, to let the anhydrous season kick off. Yield reports continue to be strong as harvest marches on. The plot crew has been hard at it, trying to get these plots out when the weather permits. I shared earlier some of our early bean planted plots and how strong they looked. This week, the guys up at Sullivan Agro in Canada shared with us one of their early planted soybean plots in the 23 season. Now, Sullivan's are about 200 miles north of Syracuse, New York, near Ottawa. They planted 8 varieties ranging from a 0.3 to a 2.8. They had 3 planting dates, June 2nd, May 11th, April 16th. Now, April 16th up there would be like us planting in March down here. The plot average for the June 2nd and the May 11th was close, with the June 2nd being about 3 bushel better than the May 11th. When comparing May 11th to April 16th, the April 16th beans averaged 20 bushel better than the May 11th beans. Seeing 70 to 75 bushel beans coming from that far north on 0.4 maturities, that's kind of an eye-opener. In all 3 planting dates, the 0.3 and 0.4 won the plot. This wild yield swing of 20 bushel better plot average is kind of wild. When we talk about beans, usually beans in any trials that we do, moving beans 3 to 5 bushels is a huge success. That's almost like moving heaven and earth, much less 20 bushel in this particular plot. In this plot, the big gain in beans per acre was partially due to planting date that triggered pre-solstice flowering and white mold. June 2nd planting date had the least amount of white mold, with the April 16th planting date slightly more than the June date, but the May 11th planting date had twice the amount of white mold. My guess, this was due to the timing of the weather pattern that triggered white mold, where early beans may have had their lower nodes through the flowering process when conditions where the spores kicked up were the worst, while the May beans were probably sporting a lot of flowers at the bottom at that time. Really appreciate Sullivan Agro for putting the plots in and sharing this information with us. The more plots we have, the more we learn. Had a bean plot here where we applied fungicide at planting through the planter for Rhizoctonia. Looks like pass by pass, it's going to be at least a 2 bushel advantage. That same fungicide was foliar applied, and again, looking pass by pass, 1 to 2 bushel advantage. Now, those aren't big numbers, but that same fungicide has showed up positive in about 4 plots now. We had an ammonium sulfate plot on beans as well as starter plot on beans. Both of them had a visual difference, but as we look at the yield by pass, it looks like that plot's going to be a wash. Now, that's not a surprise. We seem to struggle to get consistent response out of both sulfur and starter in our beans around here. Had one tillage plot in corn where we looked at different high-speed disc versus vertical till. Looks like pass for pass and that 10 to 15 bushel advantage for the vertical till. My guess is when we analyze this by zone, most of that will come out of certain soil types. We got some bean plots left and a number of corn plots, but the end is in sight. With these cold rains and weather, soil temps will be going below 50 and I believe staying there, making it a good time to start the anhydrous applications. Let's make sure we're sealing behind these rigs. In dry conditions, we can have anhydrous sneaking out of the field over days if the soil's too dry. We have enough moisture now, locally, that that's not a risk. But in some areas, we may have too much moisture, where the knives will be smearing in the soil instead of crumbling it. If you're too wet to seal, the bars will be gassing off right there at application right behind the machine. Just because you don't see smoke, don't assume it's sealing. Have someone walk behind that machine sniffing for ammonia. My suggestion is once the toolbar goes by, someone to jump down on their knees and sniff the trench. If your trench sniffer is gagging for air, you're not sealing. Trench sniffing is usually a manager's job. Don't forget to tell them that. I know anhydrous is a lot cheaper this year, but let's keep her in the ground, guys. Crews continue to clean up fields on the soil testing side as you call them in, so keep up the good work of keeping us informed. Some save the dates to lock in your calendar. Our annual Beyond the Basic webinars will begin November 28th. There'll be 5 webinars finishing up December 12th. Crop Tech clients, just call the office to get registered. Non-Crop Tech clients, you can go to our website and get registered there. Look on Beyond the Basics tab. November 29th is the date for our hand harvest here at Hayward. We need help counting, weighing, and shelling thousands of ears from our fixed flex plot. Now, there's no age limit to this project. If you can count, you're qualified. All participants will be fed and get a chance to swap stories with other volunteers. While it's a lot of work, everyone seems to have fun. The data from all this work goes into our hybrid yearbook. Your help is greatly appreciated. If you can make it, let the office know so we can plan the meal and set up enough stations to accommodate the group. The virtual winter college is January 9th. If you attended the Corn College in person this summer, you'll be automatically enrolled in the winter event. It will be a review of our 2-day event with some of the results from the plots that you were in this summer. Those who didn't make it to the summer event can go to our website again and click on the Virtual Winter College to get registered. The virtual day will have live Q&A sessions scattered through it where you can ask your questions as we go through the material. To stay up to date, check out our website at croptechinc.com and subscribe to our podcast, Boots in the Field Report. Keep her safe, keep her moving.